Hello and welcome. I'm going to go over some techniques that I've learned. I've been etching for just a little bit. I haven't been doing it for a long time. But a lot of things that, weren't covered in the beginning, things I think that would be helpful that maybe aren't on some other videos. So first off, you can see here, this is my stencil, and I have it taped on. And one of the things that's most important is that this needs to be taped on very, very well. No bubbles. When you take your etcher and you go across it, you don't want this moving at all. That is the number one rule. Get your stencil on that knife and get it taped on tight. I can't stress that enough. Another thing too is I use this Etch-O-Matic here. And these are generally designed to place on the stencil, but I found that they weren't sitting flat and I wasn't getting a nice even stencil. I was getting spots where it was dark or spots where it was deep and in other places. So what I did was took some speaker wire, connected it there. I still have this main cable, or this ground I guess we'd call it, going to the knife, but what I did was a lot of people use alligator clips and cotton swabs. I made my own device here, and it's just kind of a big cotton swab. I've seen a few different ones that people make, and this works well for me. So what I do first is with this device you can do a deep etch and you can do a dark etch. When you have this piece on right here, that does a dark etch. A deep etch. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use this guy and we're going to etch in the metal. And this takes a minute. One thing I like is that with this I get better coverage. Well, not necessarily coverage, but control as I'm etching. So I can see on the stencil where it's still dark and where it's still light, and so I can make sure that in the beginning I get nice even coverage. And I'm going to tell you all right now, I'm not the guru of this. I've been playing around with it for a little bit, but it takes a lot of practice and a lot of time to get good at it. And so what we're doing is we're actually etching into the metal here. This is not making it black. If you took it away and you cleaned it, it would be the color of the metal, but it would be etched into the metal. And right here I can tell when I pull up right here, see that? I didn't tape that on good right there. That may be a paint spot later. And if I can tell you anything, you want to tape your stencil on as tight as possible. Because when you go to put in the black, what you'll get is you'll get some ghosting or some film, and it won't look clean, and then you'll try to clean it up and you'll screw up the finish on the knife, and then you won't have even blackness, and it's just not what you want to do. So I can tell because when I rub my etcher across here with the rest of it that it's etched, it's on there tight, but I can tell at the bottom where you see that light part, when I press down it'll be dark, but then it'll go back to light. I know right there I didn't get it on, and I know that it's not gonna be as good as I'd like. So once I'm done, and I go over it for a minute or two because we're etching into the metal here. Once I'm done, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this clip off right here. We're gonna remove it. One hand operation here. There we are. So we take this out. And now, when we go back over it, it's actually going to etch it dark. And the reason that we etched it in there, I use this guy as electrolyte. Some people use salt water. And get it on there. When we go over it, it's actually going to make it dark. But it's going to make it dark deeper into the metal than if we just did it on the surface. And that's why we etched into the metal first. In this process, you'll hear it. It kind of sounds like it's sizzling. And this is where it's a big concern whether the stencil's on tight or not. Because you can get a doubling where you want the black. It won't go into the area that's etched. Instead, it will go into the area but also around it. And then you got to clean up the metal. Also, this is a process where I have a tendency to overdo it. So, we're going to try something different. And we're not going to spend a long time here, because this has caused me pain in the past. And I want to share those trouble points with you. The blade will also get hot here. Alright. There we go. So that's done. We got this guy taped on here. Now, one thing I will tell you, another thing I've learned, remember that it's a sharp ass knife. I dropped one of these on my foot one time and got a pretty good cut. Generally, I'll tape over the blade. And got one hand here. Alright. So right here is a little dirty, but we got our etching. And the thing I want to point out is down there where it was lifted up, you'll see how it's a little fatter. And the only thing I recommend for cleaning this up is just using some Scotch-Brite in the sink with some dish soap. I have used steel wool. I got 1,000 grit sandpaper around here with some oil. I've used all of that, but what I find is that the black that I put on here, I lose that. And so in the effort of trying to clean it up, I lose that, and we end up getting something like this here, where you don't see the black, and then we might as well have not put that in. So take it to the sink, use some dish soap, use a little Scotch-Brite. If you have a polish wheel, you can put it on there. But that's pretty much it.